So good morning, everybody, from Valencia. The second round of the championship, the second day of our weekend here at Valencia for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. And we are expecting some exciting racing once again. We had a good day yesterday in both the EuroNASCAR Pro and the EuroNASCAR 2 categories here at the circuit Ricardo Tormo. And we are expecting EuroNASCAR 2 onto the circuit first, though we understand from down on the ground that we may be a little bit later getting the cars out onto the circuit, but nonetheless we are live and bringing you the scenes here at the circuit before the first race of our day. And there you see the weather at the moment, a rather toasty 23 degrees Celsius already. We heard in the build-up to going live here, we heard our pit reporter Andre talking about the weather, reporting that it is every bit as hot as it looks on the data. And he will be bringing us, of course, more news and views and reactions from down in the garages as well. And in fact, I think that was him stood by one of the drivers there. Don't know if we're going to go to an interview. I don't know if that's Christoph Lenz, I believe that is. Just getting ready to go in the car. So the fans here, as expected, a bigger crowd here on Sunday by the looks of it. We've got quite a strong contingent of EuroNASCAR supporters down here in Spain. That's the number 94 car that we were just taking a look at before, and looks like we're getting the final preparations in for a few of the drivers at this stage. Oh, I like the gloves, very fancy. That 94 car will be headed out onto the circuit in the not too distant future. And here we have Andre, and he's on a driver hunt. Good stuff, Andre. Let's hear from down in the pit lane.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah, we have a little bit of delay, so good opportunity to talk to some of the newcomers in EuroNASCAR. You had your first race yesterday. How is the atmosphere? How is the feeling to be part of that big grid with more than 30 cars here in Valencia?
It's a really nice event here in Valencia, and yeah, it's huge. It's crazy huge. I drove before GT cars, and it's never as huge as like here, but it's wow. It's cool. Makes fun.
What's so special about those cars? You said you raced in GT cars, a lot of electronical driving aids. You have nothing here. How is it?
It's another story. Let's say it's another religion. So you have to take care about everything here. You have to do manually everything. So it's completely another driving of race cars, yes.
Any goals for that race?
I'll tell you after that.
All right, thank you so much. Christoph Lenz, racing for Racing Fuel Motorsport, a new team in EuroNASCAR in 2022, and now back to Adam.
And a great teammate he's got as well in Lucas Löhr, a great driver pairing actually that is, Christoph Lenz. As he alluded to, vastly experienced driver, and great to see him stepping into the world of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for the 2022 season. And I believe as we get ready for racing on the Sunday with this slight delay, we will have a little look back to Saturday and see what we're doing on the circuit. That leads them away. The green flag is on, and we are underway and racing here. Great start by the looks of it from CEST into the first corner. Into turn one they go, and Vladimiros it is that leads. Does everybody make it through okay? Looks as if they have, albeit with some of them taking to the runoff. Into turn two they go for the first time, and it is CEST who leads. Battle for fifth place still ongoing. And Delso up the inside, good move. Oh, that was wonderful stuff from Ulis Delso. What a move, just set that up wonderfully at turn 11. Dubek with a little look to the inside at turn 1. Defensive there from Linster, but not enough defensive, clearly, because up the inside. And third place, is it for Dubek? Yes. Linster was all over the curbs trying to find a way back up the inside, but it wasn't to be. He broke early there into turn 2. I think he intended to try and get the cut back, but unfortunately Dubek just perfectly hounded the road, blocked the line, and moved up into third place. Rounds the final corner in that number 5 car, and it will be victory for Vladimiros, the Cypriot driver, with lots to celebrate here in Spain. Congratulations, Vladimiros, on a fabulous win here in EuroNASCAR 2. So there you go. That was Saturday, and what racing that was, especially with Martin Dubek coming back through the order. He had a spin on the first lap, and he had to work his way back through the pack as best he could in yesterday's racing, and he did a good job at it as well. He really was on great form when we came to it yesterday, and I'm sure we're going to see some more moving and shaking up and down the grid in EuroNASCAR 2 this time. You see there the countdown to command. We're expecting it to be about 25 minutes before the engines fire for this one. So a slight delay to the track schedule at the moment, but we're still seeing drivers getting ready to go. That's the number 64 car, I believe that is. That is the Speedhouse car, which will be driven by Eric Quintal for this race. Of course, it was the pole-sitting car yesterday in EuroNASCAR Pro as well, with Alexander Graf at the wheel. Alexander with a great result yesterday to take third on the podium. But, okay, so next up we have a bit of a word with Alia Koluk, who's getting ready for her second race in EuroNASCAR.
Thank you, Adam. My name is Alia Koluk. How are you enjoying this event so far?
I'm really enjoying it. Yesterday I did both races and I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fighting. So I'm hoping today will be a lot of fun fights, and I'm hopefully going to get a better position.
I know you have plenty of experience in different racing cars. What makes the EuroNASCAR car so special for you?
Well, these cars, you got to really rely on your racing skill, and it's just a really fun series and with a lot of cars, so it's great fighting all the time, and it's really different from all the cars you see. So I'm really enjoying it so far, and yeah.
Expectations and goal for that race?
It's still my first race weekend, so I'm expecting to do better than yesterday. That's my goal. So top 15 I'm gonna try to do, and get the win in a female category as well.
All right, thank you so much and good luck, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Alia then. Yes, correct on her part. Of course, she did both races yesterday, so this will be her third race in EuroNASCAR. She is one of a few drivers doing both EuroNASCAR 2 and EuroNASCAR Pro this weekend. Obviously, the defending EuroNASCAR 2 champion is another of them. Martin Dubek is competitive in both classes. That was, I believe, the number 40 car we were looking into there. That's Matthias Hauer at the wheel. A full grid for both categories, over 30 cars entered into both. Of course, if you are new to EuroNASCAR, the same chassis typically competes in both elements of the weekend. So they have a driver for EuroNASCAR 2 and a driver for EuroNASCAR Pro as well. So that can make things interesting, especially for the teams. If someone has a slightly rough race in the morning, that means they've got a lot of work to do over lunchtime before the EuroNASCAR Pro race in the afternoon, for example. If someone does have a bit of a moment with their car today in this race, then their teammate is probably going to be rather on edge up until the start command for EuroNASCAR Pro later, just hoping that the car is actually ready to go. Hearing lots of stories of, shall we say, rapid repairs and preparations up and down the paddock for this one. I understand that Gianmarco Occoli had a gearbox change in lightning time yesterday. Of course, in EuroNASCAR, in the second races, the grid is determined by the fastest laps in race 1, and they had to get him back out for race 2, and so they changed the whole gearbox in the first race. So bear in mind, the first race of the day was, 75 kilometres, including 2 safety cars, 18 laps of racing. So at the end of the first lap, they ducked back in, changed the gearbox, and they still sent him out with long enough to get Gianmarco Occoli out there, and their efforts were rewarded, because that's actually the fastest lap of the race that he then set thereafter. So even though he had a gearbox go on him during that race, he's still on pole for EuroNASCAR Pro. But back down to the garages and with Andre once again.
Thank you, Adam. We have another lady here on the grid, Alina Leutninger from Austria. Alina, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. So I changed the team this weekend, and I'm really happy. The team is great and the car is really great, so I'm looking forward to the race.
You have you have experience here at Valencia. What are the key parts of that track where you have to be very focused, and where can you make an overtaking maneuver?
Yeah, I think the track is really tricky, but you can try fast in the first corner, so I will try to do a lot of good places here.
Alright, any goals for that race?
What?
Any goals or aims? What you're expecting?
Yeah, of course. I win the ladies' trophy, so yeah.
Alright then, good luck and have fun.
Thank you.
There you go. Great to hear from the Austrian driver, and great to hear that the same playlist that brought us Rammstein in the background yesterday is still very popular in the paddock as we prepare to go racing in the next few minutes. Sounds like there's a big metalhead contingent down in the pits here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. That's great to see. And so good to hear from Alina Leutninger there, the Austrian driver who, as she said, she's made some personnel changes, different team, but ready for another season, battling for the overall honours as well as the ladies' trophy. And there are quite a few different disciplines within this EuroNASCAR 2 grid. We've got 3 different trophies on offer in EuroNASCAR 2: the rookie class, the Legends Trophy, and the Lady Trophy as well. So there's kind of 3 subcategories within the EuroNASCAR 2 grids. Of course, the main overall element is what a lot of these drivers will be focused on, but it's always good to get the scalp in the rookie class and so on. Other drivers to keep an eye on for this one, I'd say Liam Hasemans. He was very good for his first EuroNASCAR outing yesterday, and also keep an eye on Michael Blekemolen. Michael, who is a former F1 driver, of course, took a couple of starts in Formula 1 in the 70s and is still racing to this day, along with his sons and the rest of his family. It's a big-time racing family, the Blekemolen family. Speaking of big-time racing names, Valentino Rossi, of course. There is the mural that they painted for him after the final outing of the great number 46 in MotoGP last year, here for the season finale at Valencia. The season finale of EuroNASCAR, typically held here at the circuit Ricardo Tormo, of course. Andre is trying to seize himself interview opportunities at the moment, and not succeeding either on that occasion by the looks of it. But ever the diligent journalist is Andre Viergold. The countdown to command about 17 minutes away, so I'd expect that we will get the cars out on circuit within the next 10 minutes or so. So the drivers are starting to boot up, suit up, and get into the cars, which is why some of them are now, let's say, in the zone and less willing to chat than they would be under normal circumstances. You see there's still some supporters down in the pit lane as well. Lots of fans here today for the EuroNASCAR Sunday. I'm sure EuroNASCAR 2 will give them a good kickoff to what should be a fabulous Sunday of racing. EuroNASCAR Pro racing later on today as well into the afternoon. 60-kilometre race, 15 laps for EuroNASCAR 2 coming up in a short while. EuroNASCAR Pro with a 75-kilometre, 18-lap distance. But certainly the anticipation building. Slight delay to the programme, as we've alluded to, and that means that a lot of excitement brewing down there in the garages at the moment. There is a very wise spectator. The umbrella, usually utilised when it's a bit wet here in the UK, but it can also be a very good shade. And there you go. That's what's been done there. Smart stuff. We were talking about the different trophies earlier on, and here they are for you in EuroNASCAR 2, as I've alluded to, the Rookie, Lady and Legend trophies. Then in EuroNASCAR Pro, which is for the Pro, Semi-Pro and Elite Amateur drivers, so the quicker AMs and the drivers with professional racing backgrounds, the Junior Trophy and the Challenger Trophy available in that class as well. So the Challenger is for the Elite AM drivers. We saw, I believe it was Martin Dubeck taking the win in Challenger yesterday, and the Junior Trophy for drivers aged 25 and under. Quite a few juniors in this year, the likes of Tobias Downhauer, right up at the sharp end as well. Certainly is a youth movement within EuroNASCAR. One of the drivers that best exemplifies that youth movement is at the wheel of the 47 car, the Racers Motorsports entry of Leonardo Colavita. He is just 16 years of age, debuted within a week of his 16th birthday at Croatia, Grobnik last year. He's now doing a full season. He's got support from JTR Doubtry Racing as well, so he's got some support from the USA. He's hoping to forge a career in NASCAR competition. Increasingly, we are seeing the young drivers treat the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series as something of a feeder series to the American national competitions. We've seen plenty of our drivers go over for the road courses in Xfinity, for example, or further down the scale in the K&N East and West Series, and in fact a few of them have jumped over to Canada as well for the Pinty Series. So lots of drivers making the move over to North America now, sometimes just on a one-off basis for the American NASCAR Series, of course. We've seen Loris Hazemans and Team Hazelberg move over, and Jack Villeneuve, of course, jumping into the Daytona 500 this year, taking victories in EuroNASCAR in 2021. There's the number 94 car rolling out onto the circuit then. That's the Racing Fuel Motorsport entry. Alina Leubnerger, who we heard from a little earlier in the broadcast. Good to see that cars are going out there then. That's a good sign that the start command should be on the schedule we previously saw on the screen. Looks like they're trying to fire up the number 40 at the moment. Matthias Hauer, who as I mentioned yesterday, is one of a few drivers who doesn't actually have anyone sharing the car with him. I suppose that's a bit of a pressure-off scenario there, especially here on the Sunday, where the next job for the team is to get the car back into the garage and back into the truck and go home. They don't actually have to. He doesn't actually have to worry about keeping the car in a decent condition for EuroNASCAR Pro. So no one is expecting to take over the number 40 car, and that could be to his benefit this weekend. I'm sure he will drive a measured performance as he usually does, Matthias, but if he does want to get his elbows out, at least he knows he's not jeopardising anyone else's afternoon. You see there the Hoosier tyres on these EuroNASCAR machines. We're still running kind of the more traditional wheel and tyre for stock car competition. Of course, the main game, the NASCAR Sprint Cup, has moved on to bigger wheels and less rubber, lower profile tyres, as we now take a look at the circuit. 4 kilometres and about 5 extra metres here at the circuit. Ricardo, Tormo, the Valencia circuit has been host to many an international competition over the years, up to including testing for Formula One. 14 corners on this rather compact layout. You can see the whole track from practically any grandstand, which makes it brilliant for the fans and the spotters as well, it must be said, here in EuroNASCAR. I'm pretty sure they can call just about anywhere from the top of the pit building, which is hugely useful for them. 10 minutes and 50 then left to go until the command car still rolling out. There's Andrea Tronconi, who actually made some good progress through the order in yesterday's race, albeit he tagged a couple of people on the way, but hard and fast racing, very much part of the formula in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Looks like they're going to do a couple of laps out there, which gives everyone an opportunity to see that the cars have been prepped properly. There is the number 56 car, I believe that is, the Cal Racing car of Gil Linster. One of the other cars that was a bit, let's say, embattled yesterday. Linster was right up at the sharp end yesterday. Starting today, I believe a little further back than yesterday. Oh, he's starting from 5th place, actually, so I shouldn't discredit him. He's starting on the same 3rd row as Alfredo Di Matteo, so 2 yellow cars on the 3rd row of the grid. 2 competitive drivers at that. You'll be unsurprised to hear that Vladimiros Ziortzis, with the sheer level of pace he showed us in race 1 yesterday, is on pole position for this one. Of course, the grid determined by fastest laps, and Ziortzis comfortably the fastest out there yesterday. He will be on the front row with Alberto Nasca, Martin Dubeck in 3rd place, Ulis Del So in 4th, Gil Linster in 5th, and Alfredo Di Matteo 6th place. Liam Hazeman's in that number 50 car, which he shares with Tobias Dauenhauer, starting from 7th place. It's Francesco Garisto, Melvin de Groot and Paul Giffreau are top 10. Christian Malcherek, Leonardo Colavita, Michael Blakemolen rounding out our top 13 drivers. 14th on the grid is Andrea Tronconi. Tronconi did start at the very back in the last race. He's managed to work his way up into the top half of the field for race 2. Keep an eye on Blakemolen. Certainly he is one of the more tenured drivers on the grid. I believe he's just turned 72 actually, as Michael. As I said, he did lots of incredible things in the world of junior single-seaters back in the day, the Dutchman. I believe he won the Formula Ford category in Holland at one point, and parlayed that into running in Formula 1 and then Formula 3. Kind of went back and forth up and down the junior single-seater ladder, as then, much like the rest of his family, specialised in Clios and in Porsche competition. And now we see an increasing contingent of Blakemolens in the EuroNASCAR paddock, which is great to see. Hopefully we soon get the answer to questions such as, well, I wonder what Jeroen would be able to do at the wheel in a full season in pro. That would be great to see in years to come, wouldn't it? So then the personnel spilling out onto the grid. We are just a few minutes away from the command to start engines. The number 5 car rolling into the pole position. Just joining us, these cars, 400 brake horsepower, 1,200 kilos. So a bit lighter and a bit less powerful than some of the cars you'll see in the US National Series in NASCAR, but they're still very tricky machines to drive quickly, courtesy of absolutely no driving aids. They are about as manual as a modern race car can be. Old school is cool. And these 5.7 litre V8 machines are certainly very cool indeed, and we love seeing them race here in the EuroNASCAR category. And I believe we have a champion down on the grid. Very interesting. Andre Viegold, take it away.
Thank you, Adam. Yes, indeed, we have the reigning and two-time EuroNASCAR Pro Champion Loris Hesselmans here today. It's said you're not in the car, but you're focusing on your adventure with Team Hazelberg in the NASCAR Cup Series. So how's it going there?
Correct, yeah, so it's a very exciting project. I mean, so far we have had 2 races, one obviously with Jacques at Daytona, so that was a pretty good race. Then we also had a race in Kota. We were suffering from a little bit of issues with the car, some mechanical issues, but something that for sure we can turn around very quickly. So it's a very exciting experience. Love racing in the States, and in the end it all came because of the EuroNASCAR basically.
You drove the Xfinity car, the Truck Series car, and the new Next Gen car. How is the new generation of cars over there in the US?
Yeah, the new Next Gen car is a pretty cool car. I mean, it's nice with the new sequential gearbox, bigger brakes, so at least like those things work really efficiently. But I mean, you ask anybody, I mean, it's a tricky car to drive for sure on the limit. So, but that makes it fun, you know. You have to work hard for it. You have to really try to be on point, make as little mistakes as possible. So it's great.
You grew up in the EuroNASCAR, you made the move. You have to adapt to the oval racing in the US and get the licenses and stuff like this. So how is that going? What's the plan in the season 2022?
Yeah, we're just building it up step by step. So I did a few races, I think more or less 3 races I did in the beginning of the season in Xfinity and trucks. And then now what we are basically trying to focus on is on the road courses in the Cup. And we're just building it up step by step like that. So us, the team as well, and then hopefully through the years, for the time to come, we can progress further and further.
The name Hesselmans did not vanish from the grid. We have your younger brother Liam Hesselmans. He did his first ever automobile race yesterday, I think, right? And he did well. He did very, very good. But he's new to the grid. Let us know, what kind of guy is he?
Yeah, Liam is like, you'll see, he is like Mr. Sociable with everybody. He's a great kid. I think it's difficult not to get along with him. Always with a big smile on his face, so it's great to see. We work great together as well. And yeah, I mean, with the EuroNASCAR as well, I was thinking, when talking with my dad, I was like, is it maybe a bit young, you know? Let's maybe let him start in something smaller. My dad, of course, is always putting full pressure. It's like, no, EuroNASCAR it is, you know? So this was the same for him as karting. I think after 6 months of him karting, we went to the World Championship in Le Mans. But then of 144 drivers, he finished 10th. So he knows how to deal with pressure. So I'm sure he will do well here as well.
You've been to Valencia also several times. I think your first race ever, I saw you on top of a car almost in turn 2, I think it was. What are the key facts on that track to be fast? So what is your advice to your brother?
I think the biggest advice for him right now is first of all, stay on track. That's the biggest thing. We're trying to look as much as possible at data, and I just say, like, try to get every lap in order to get the maximum amount of experience. It's like you were saying, his first race, he has only been, I think in total he was 5 times so far in a racing car. So he's doing very well until now, but he just needs to get the laps in, try to get the mileage in, and learn from there.
All right, thank you so much. I think we are ready for the national anthem, and have fun here today in Valencia. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Great to hear from our reigning champion, sadly not defending this year, but you hear that he has big aspirations in the United States, and along with his team, Team Hazelberg, we're going to see him become a star of the NASCAR scene in the US. I'm quite sure of that. Great to have Loris with us once again, and supporting Liam, whose car you can see there on the right hand of your screen just briefly, the number 50. Understand we are just a few moments away from the most famous words in motorsport, though. The engines are about to fire here at Valencia, the rolling thunder of EuroNASCAR, just a few moments away. We just had it in the background, so there you go. Drivers, start your engines. The time is already here. No wasted movement or motion. with this slight delay, we're getting the racing underway as quickly as possible, which is great to see. Here is the 88 car. Great to see Alberto Nasca in this category. Alberto, who, if you're unfamiliar, is a big-time motorsport YouTuber, one of the most popular motorsport figures on the platform. And he produces some fabulous content following his adventures in motor racing, two-wheeled or four-wheeled. Very excited to see how his content comes out from this Valencia weekend, but even more excited by his performances. If you're watching qualifying yesterday, his first couple of flying laps were some of the most spectacular driving I've seen around this circuit in the 20-odd years that I've been watching racing. That was shall we say, a very loose-looking car in qualifying, but they clearly sorted it out a bit for the race, and he was a bit smoother come race time, but he was still incredibly quick. He was on the front row from qualifying yesterday, and now he's once again on the front row after race one. And here is the grid then. Vladimiros Tsiotsis on the pole position, the Cypriot driver in the number 5, a car that looks very quick here this weekend, both in EuroNASCAR 2 and EuroNASCAR Pro. Alberto Nasca in second, and it's Martin Dubek, our defending EuroNASCAR 2 champion, in his first of 2 races today. Ulis Del So in 4th position. He will be followed by Gil Linster on the 3rd row of the grid, the Luxembourg driver, starting alongside Alfredo Di Matteo in one of the Shadow DNM8s. Liam Hazemans is next, his first ever car race yesterday, and he did very well indeed. Let's see how he progresses as the year goes on. Francesco Garisto in 8th place. Melvin de Groot in 9th place. He was involved in some great battles yesterday. Let's see if the fight is around him again. Certainly his sparring partner from yesterday, Paul Dufro, is right there with him. Christian Malcharek in 11th place in the 24 car. No luck yesterday at all. Let's see if he can have a better run today. Leonardo Colavita in 12th place. And then Michael Blekemolen in 13th position. Great to see Michael racing once again. Andrea Tronconi in the number 1 car, and he's joined by Paolo Valeri behind him on row 8 of the grid. And it's Levi Linsucanto in the 23. Advait Doda in 17th, and 18th is Patrick Schober in the 27. Miguel Gomez in 19th place. I expect him to come up through the order a little bit. Luli Del Castello rounds out our top 20. So many quick drivers, even in EuroNASCAR 2 these days. I'd say the overall quality and standard of the EuroNASCAR paddock seems to go up a little bit every single year. We seem to keep bringing new people in. I mean, we spoke to the likes of Christoph Lenz, who moved into this from GT racing. Cars are more fun, the racing is more cost effective in the eyes of many, and it's understandable that we get people making the move over from whatever category they may be in, have a little look at EuroNASCAR one weekend and go, yes, I think this might be for me, you know. And every year we get this steady flow of new drivers coming in, and we also retain drivers for many a year. I mean, just in researching for this event, so many of these drivers have been here for 10 or so years. So many drivers that I remember from the paddock and the stands at Brands Hatch about 7 or 8 years ago, last time I attended a EuroNASCAR event as a fan. And I was like, oh, I recognise some of these names. There's a lot of consistent and loyal racers here in the EuroNASCAR paddock. And you see the 2x2 formation as they get ready to go racing. Traditional 2x2 rolling start to get started at the front of the order. It's going to be Nasca on the outside. And our race winner from yesterday taking the inside line again in that number 5 car. We're underway and we are racing. Vladimiros Tsiotsis then in the number 5 car. Let's see if he can hold the lead into the first corner. Look at Martin Dubek. Dubek on the attack into turn 1. Surely not. Oh, Nasca. Nasca trying to go all the way around the outside, and I think he's done it. Amazing stuff from Alberto Nasca. NASCAR, I think, may just have the lead here, although he's on the outside line. Always tricky on the outside, isn't it? I think he's just about done it, you know. Alberto NASCAR with a fabulous start, but Dubek also tried his hand at getting through the order. It looks as though everyone's got through the first few corners without terribly much issue. Now, someone off further back. I think that might be the 16 car having a bit of an issue there. I think that was the 16 having a bit of a gravel trap moment. Confirm that when they come across the line. Certainly, it doesn't look to me as though Alfredo Di Matteo, I don't think is even out there on the circuit, actually, so I'll bite my tongue. I don't think Di Matteo has taken the start here. It is Alberto NASCAR, though, that leads the way on this first lap of the race. Brilliant stuff. Vladimiros Tsiotsis just behind him. Then it's Gil Linster in third place. Dubek has been demoted to fourth after challenging for the lead in the first few corners. And Liam Hazemans has managed to get himself up to fifth place as well. Very good job indeed, but it's NASCAR in the lead. Now, we saw yesterday that Tsiotsis almost looked like he was in a class of his own. Ended up winning by about 6.5 seconds on the final lap, but he cruised on the final lap. The gap before that last lap was about 10 seconds. So we know that Tsiotsis has pace, but getting past the driver is a very different thing from setting fast laps. Let's see if he can get around Alberto NASCAR. We know that NASCAR's got some good experience in car racing. He's documented most of it on his YouTube. And let's see if he can put in every bit of experience he has to this point to his advantage now. When it matters the most, he's leading a race in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series in the EuroNASCAR 2 category. Oh, Gil Linster there getting a bit loose going through turn 3. On to turn 5 we go then. The second time of 15. One up the inside goes Vladimiros. Oh, that was looking a little bit close for comfort, wasn't it? I thought for a minute that Vladimiros would end up in the side of Alberto NASCAR, but very well managed by both drivers. NASCAR widened his line through the corner just enough, and Tsiotsis backed out just enough to avoid contact there. But Vladimiros, I don't think, is looking to waste any time behind Alberto NASCAR. Oh, we got the number 1 car off. That's Tronconi we just saw in the foreground of the shot. Andrea Tronconi into the barriers, but this race persists nonetheless. Tronconi, though, has unfortunately come to grief there on just the second lap of the race. NASCAR and Tsiotsis running 1-2 at the moment then. Alex Caffey entry, the number 5 car, pursuing that 88. The 88 is, of course, one of the cars out of the Cal Racing stable. And NASCAR goes defensive into turn 2 once again, making his car as wide as humanly possible. We've got turn 6 covered by local yellows at the moment because of Tronconi's moment. It's not necessarily in the direct line of fire, so they may decide that the caution isn't necessary here. Lap 3 of the race, and NASCAR under immense pressure from Tsiotsis, but he's managing it well. There's the stranded car of Tronconi. It looks like he's the only one stranded down there. I think they may elect to just keep that car there and not go under safety car. Now, is that the other half of the incident? It could well be. Didn't quite catch the number on that one, but might actually be Tyus Hauer potentially. No, Hauer's gone through the first sector split. Oh, it's the 29 car. Okay, so it's Alia College. Oh no, Alia. Unfortunately, we heard from her she was excited to take this second race on of the EuroNASCAR 2 weekend, and unfortunately it's ended with an incident there. Now, we don't know whether or not she was involved with Tronconi there, or whether that was separate matters being shown there. And we see that she's now in the pit lane, of course. We saw the car limping back into the pit lane. top two, NASCAR and CEST. Still with Alberto NASCAR in the lead. He takes a wide line out of turn one, doesn't he? NASCAR pushing every inch of the way that he can. On to lap 4 of 15. Bit of a sideways moment there almost from CEST. Rounding turn 5 once again. We'll see whether the yellow flags are withdrawn here at 6. Oh, I think they might be, because CEST is having a look up the inside. I'm assuming the yellows are no longer waving there, because he was definitely looking for a move, wasn't he? Of course, as these two continue to fight, it could well bring the likes of Gil Linster and Martin Dubeck, and in fact our rookie, our ultra rookie in his first weekend of racing, Liam Hazemans, into the battle. Some confirmation on the timing and scoring. Car number 1 and number 29 are under investigation, so that rather implies that the damage we saw to the 29 car of Alia Kolic and the resulting gravel visit for Andrea Tronconi are probably connected. Here's a replay of the start then. Martin Dubeck was right there on the inside of CEST, and Alberto NASCAR, with a big wide line, managed to dive up into the lead of the race. He held a good speed as well through turn 2. There's some oil dust down there among other things as well, so he did very well to find traction on the outside at turn 2 to take this lead. We're on to lap 5 of the race now. 1/3 distance, and CEST has the gloves off. He's trying up the inside, round the outside, any way he can. Oh, NASCAR's run it deep into the corner. Is that the opportunity that Alberto NASCAR has given? Yes, it is. CEST is through. Oh, and NASCAR just pushing too hard there. I think he locked the brakes up there quite significantly. He may have flat spotted his Hoosiers with that one as well. Oh, goodness me. There to try and fire back, and obviously no ABS on these cars. Quite easy to lock up, especially if you're solely focused on being the last of the late breakers, and CEST there rather masterfully made the position. Now NASCAR needs to try and refocus and maybe try and continue to chase CEST. And here you see, just asked too much of the car on the apex, allowed CEST up the inside, and then running towards turn 4, got heavy onto the brakes there, tried to do some turning and braking at the same time without ABS. That can often be a difficult thing to achieve, and there we saw a textbook example of that. NASCAR then demoted to second place, and may soon come under pressure from Linster by the looks of it, because Linster, personal best first sector, and well, the gap between the second place man Alberto NASCAR and Linster behind is far smaller than the gap between first and second now by the looks of it. Looks like CEST, now that he's got through, is building an advantage. It's already out to 1.5 seconds. We saw that Alia Kolic getting to rejoin the race as well. That's good to see. Alia getting some more mileage under her belt before she goes racing again later in the EuroNASCAR Pro. Of course, Martin Dubeck will also be out in EuroNASCAR Pro later on today, following Gil Linster. And Dubeck in that number 7 just continues to hound the back of the 56 car. And Dubeck ran it a bit wide, Linster I should say, ran it a bit wide there coming out of turn 6 into turn 8, a favourite overtaking opportunity, and Dubeck took the opportunity with both hands. He's up the inside, he makes sure he blocks off the turn in for Linster, and that was a fabulous move from Dubeck. He just ran the car a bit deep into the corner, I think with a little bit of intent to make sure that Gil Linster couldn't get the car turned in. Textbook driving. And look who's still there and still holding on to a podium battle here, Liam Hazemans. It really does run in the family, doesn't it? Multi-generational racing family. And up the inside of the number 7 car Went the number 7 car, I should say. Martin Dubeck with a fabulous move at turn 8, one of the key overtaking opportunities here at Valencia. Dubeck then back up to 3rd place, and in the back of shot there we see the 24 car in a spin. So that was Christian Malcharek spinning out of 10th place there. I think the number 90 car probably went off there as well to avoid any collision. I think Advait Yoda went off as well. Certainly we saw the 24 in a spin at the back of shot, didn't we? And look at this, Liam Hazeman's all over the back of Gil Linster. Looks like the 24 has continued on, but Malcharek is now down to 21st place, so he's lost a lot of time courtesy of that spin that we saw in the background. Number 47 car is under investigation. That's Leonardo Colavita. Oh no, was Colavita involved with that moment? And look at Hazeman. He's almost copied Martin Dubeck exactly there. Brilliant move from Liam Hazeman. Well, the young man has barely driven a race car before, but you wouldn't know it, would you? Yes, the sim is a key tool these days. They use the sims wholeheartedly. He's got plenty of solid experience in the world of karting, but goodness me, Liam Hazeman diving up the inside for 4th place, and I wonder now whether he can try and pursue Martin Dubeck. 48 car getting a warning flag. 48 car is Yevgen Sokolovsky. Here's a replay of that moment from Hazeman. Just dived up the inside there. Uncompromising driving. Just about avoided the back of Gil Linster as he switched lanes. That was fabulous driving. Well, Hazeman's dynasty continues to grow. Liam Hazeman is showing all of the tuition from his brother, his father, I'm sure grandfather too. Incredible family with decades upon decades of racing history. Of course, Mike was a hugely successful peddler in GT racing for many seasons. And we've seen both Liam and Loris now in EuroNASCAR. Loris, our champion in EuroNASCAR Pro last year, now moving into the world of NASCAR competition in America. I'm sure Mike isn't selfish enough to put himself into the Hazelberg car anytime soon, but if we could see Mike Hazeman in a Cup car just once, I'd be very happy to see that personally. So then Hazeman's in 4th position with that move we saw. We'll have to keep an eye on the deltas and see whether he's able to match the pace of Martin Dubeck ahead of him. Here's a little bit of a scrap further back in the order. 48 car of Sokolovsky is in 15th place at the moment. In fact, make that 14th place. He's just got around the 23 of Levi Lintercanto. 72 car under pressure, Michael Blekemolen, another famous Dutch racing name. Blekemolen in 10th place. Michael, who is running his age on the door, actually, the number 72 car. He is such a famous name in Dutch motorsport. Up the inside there goes the number 46 car, Miguel Gomez, dispatching Levi Lintercanto, who looks like he's under threat at the moment from a number of drivers. Here comes the 38, Teo Calvé. The last minute sub is Teo. Didn't know he'd be racing here when he woke up on Monday morning. Not even sure he knew on Friday morning, actually, but here he is. And he's now up to 15th place as a result of that move. So Calvé makes the move, and just behind is that number 54 car, Luli Del Castello. She's currently the leader in the ladies' trophy class. So the 54 car being piloted by a class leader at the moment. Second in the ladies' trophy is Elina Leubnerger. Number 2 car running a bit wide there. That's one of the Alex Caffey Academy machines. Kasparis Vingilis in 18th place, just behind Del Castello at the moment. Do you notice that some drivers seem to run deep into corners with a bit of intention to try and square up the corner and get a better exit? Often doesn't really work unless you've got a long straight coming, but we do see some alternate methodology, let's say, as they get to grips with these cars. Around the outside at turn 14 would be very brave, Vingilis. Kasparis Vingilis tried to have a look around the outside. That would have been quite the move. I'm not sure I've seen that one before. And look at this. That was the 54 car having a look up the inside, wasn't it? Bleekemolen, meanwhile, going defensive. As the 90 car, Advait Deoda, tries to get back into the top 10. Oh, and a good move there on Bleekemolen. Deoda up into 11th place with that move. In fact, make that taking back 10th place, I should say, because he was actually ahead at the line. So he's up to 10th. And Melvin de Groot has also got past Michael Bleekemolen there. So Bleekemolen's been demoted to 12th place, de Groot up to 11th, and Deoda up to 10th place. And look at these Team Bleekemolen cars. They're certainly having a bit of a scrap. Still side by side through the S's at turn 9 and 10. Michael recognises that he's not going to get to the corner first. You see that even though they're teammates, they're running different bodies. A Camaro for Bleekemolen, a Mustang for de Groot. Detroit battling then between two of the big US manufacturers. Of course, the cars are all spec in reality under the skin, but there are several different body kits and body panels available to the teams. And we're seeing a good example of that at the moment. Oh, out wide there goes de Groot. Could be an opportunity actually then for Bleekemolen as he's in the slipstream. They come past the pit lane, and up the inside looking there was Bleekemolen, but not able to get through just yet. If I'm able to fight for positions within the top dozen in EuroNASCAR when I'm 72, I'll consider it a good job well done. But I'm sure Michael Bleekemolen has aspirations of greater things, has had so much success in his 50-plus year racing career. He's raced at the very highest of disciplines. And of course, has brought his whole family into the competition in subsequent seasons. And here's a battle then for 5th place. Gil Linster under pressure from Ulis Delso, and it looks as though Ulis has got through. Yes, Delso up the inside for P5 at turn 12. But keep an eye on Gil Linster, who is not going to take that one sitting down. He's seen the newcomer Liam Hazemans get past him. I'm sure Gil isn't going to be as charitable with Ulis Delso. Let's see what Linster can do in response then, but for now the number 3 car is up into the top 5. The outside looked at Linster there for a moment. For your information, we are on to lap 12 of the race at the moment, lap 12 of 15. And not long left to go for these drivers. They want to make their mark on the race. They are going to have to do it fairly quickly. Around turns 4 and 5, and Delso there on the curbs, but a little bit squirrely. We said there's no ABS. There is, of course, no traction control either. But, these cars can get very squirrely very quickly if you get them onto the painted curbs, especially coming out of a corner. At the front of the order, Vlad Miros Tsiotsis continues to lead by 4 seconds over Alberto Nasca. Another 4 seconds or so to Martin Dubeck in third place. And the fourth place man, Hasemans, has kind of knocked around the 2-second barrier for a while behind Dubeck. He's not been able to close in, though, particularly. So it looks as though Hasemans isn't quite going to get his first overall podium this weekend. But what a performance it will be nonetheless for Liam Hasemans. 2 rookie podiums and well within the overall top 10 on both days of racing as well. That's a good job, well done, I'd say. Working back through the order is Christian Malczarek, of course. He had a moment earlier on. And is that one of the Blake-Molen cars slowing that I just spotted? Certainly someone was allowing some cars through, but we'll hopefully maybe catch and see whether that was one of the Blake-Molen cars. I'm not sure. I think it might be, but we'll wait to see what the timing screen has to say. So Malczarek has a good view here of the battle between Teo Calve and the car behind, which is, of course, the 54 of Luli del Castello. Castello looking quite menacing there on the run to turn 1. Can confirm that Michael Blake-Molen has dropped down out of the top 20 now, so I think that was Blake-Molen slowing, unfortunately. Huge shame for Michael Blake-Molen, who's having a good race. Good race ongoing here. Malczarek's had the door open for him there by Castello. And he has made up a position there quite easily, in fact. But Del Castello back on the offensive. And back into what is 15th position. Teo Calve will be hoping these two continue to scrap so he can drive off a bit. Luli del Castello is not going to let Christian Malczarek just take positions without a bit of a fight. '24 car of Malczarek. Is on that recovery drive. We saw the spin earlier on at the final corner. May have been assisted in said spin. Alan Day, I'm sure, will be watching on interestedly. He takes that car over for EuroNASCAR Pro later, and he'll be looking to have a much better race than he had yesterday. Some gravel kicked up ahead. Was that from Teo Calve? Well, Calve's certainly still there, so if he did kick up the gravel, thankfully it doesn't seem to have caused him too many issues. However, he has fallen back into the clutches of Del Castello. And as they now head on to the penultimate lap of the race, I see yellow flags down at turn 1 as well. Let's hope they're all conscious of that. No one make a move under yellows, please. Everyone abiding by the yellow flags. Now, can we see a car off there? Not sure. Didn't spot one. The 38 car under pressure. Teo Calve under huge pressure. Elsewhere, we've got a 5-second time penalty for car number 48 owing to overtaking under yellows, and that's very interesting because that 5-second penalty for the 48 car, 13th place Yevgen Sokolovsky, he's 5.2 seconds clear of this battle for 14th place. So potentially, if these drivers don't hold each other up too much, Sokolovsky could fall behind one, if not all of them. But I suspect the fight is going to press on here because look at the 54. Del Castello trying to go around the outside at turn 8. Malczarek, I think once again, is just going to wait here and see what happens over the next few corners, see if an opportunity arises at the wheel of the 24. The leaders will be starting the final lap of the race at the moment. These guys will soon be doing the same in this battle for 14th. Teo Calve being pursued by the lady class leader at the moment, the ladies' trophy. Luli del Castello in the 54 car wants to move up the grid at the expense of Teo Calve. These drivers are now 6.2 seconds back from Yevgen Sokolovsky, so I think Sokolovsky is actually safe in terms of his 5-second penalty. I don't think it's going to shift him down the order at all. Teo Calvé, though, anything but safe in his position at the moment. He's got both Castello and Malczarek behind him, and Castello's found an open door. They were side by side through turn 3, but here is our race leader around turn 13. It's going to be another fabulous drive from Vladimiros Tsiotsis. He was over 6 seconds clear, crossing the line on the final lap. He has been setting the pace at the front of the pack, and once again the number 5 car will cross the line for a second win in as many days in EuroNASCAR 2. Brilliant drive for Vladimiros Tsiotsis. Alberto Nasca with another overall podium. Second place once more for Alberto Nasca, and Martin Dubek will round out the top 3 just ahead of Liam Hazemans. Meanwhile, Christian Malczarek has got past Luli Del Castello. So Del Castello has dropped a position there, as we can see on our screens. Oh, and a big moment there for the 46 car. That's Miguel Gomez. Gomez, who was being followed by Yevgen Sokolovsky, has had a spin. Question is, did he fall or was he pushed? Either way, Sokolovsky will have made up a position, and Miguel Gomez has dropped some places there. Circumstances pending. But it doesn't look like Malczarek is going to find a way past Teo Calvé. He will, of course, make up a position from Gomez, but that might be little consolation. Melvin de Groot came home 11th place ahead of Yevgen Sokolovsky. Teo Calvé eventually takes 13th place, of course. Malczarek in 14th. Luli Del Castello in 15th, and Miguel Gomez drops to 17th on that final lap. A reminder of your overall top 10 then: Vladimiros Tsiotsis, our winner. Alberto Nasca taking 2nd, Martin Dubek in 3rd, Liam Hazemans 4th, and Ulias Del So in 5th place. Gil Linster eventually dropped down to 6th place. Francesco Garisto finishing in 7th, Paul Jufro in 8th, Leonardo Colavita in 9th, and Advait Diodha taking the final spot in the top 10. Vladimiros should be holding his head high when he gets back into the paddock. I'm sure he will be. He was very calm and calculated coming into race 1 yesterday. And we saw that once he got back to victory lane and he had a word with Andre, the smile came out, the dance moves almost came out on the roof of the car as well. Vladimiros Tsiotsis will be happy with that. He had to work harder for that one. He basically led from lights to flag yesterday, but today it was harder work. You saw there Martin Dubek making a move to the inside on lap 1. Alberto Nasca, though, around the outside, managed to take the lead and hold the lead coming into turn 2, despite having the outside line. Nasca would continue to lead the race for several laps. He goes defensive into turn 2 here, asked too much of the apex. Tried to find more grip than he could find on the tyres. Ended up leaving the door open for Vladimiros Tsiotsis, and Vladimiros did not need to be asked twice. Meanwhile, Martin Dubek got himself up onto the podium with this move on Gil Linster. Very measured manoeuvre from Martin Dubek, and then just a lap later, Liam Hazemans looked at that and said, you know what, I can have a crack at that too. Was a lot bolder on the brakes though, got the move completely done before they even got to the apex of turn 8. Just about had the car in the right position and moved up. Some good battling further back as well. But ultimately, another good result for Vladimiros Tsiotsis. Will be the headline grabber. I'm sure Alberto Nasca is going to have a very positive outlook at this weekend though. Immediately greeted and congratulated by Andre, our intrepid pit reporter, a good friend to everyone in the paddock as well by the looks of it. Andre Viegold will be talking soon to Vladimiros Tsiotsis. But of course the debrief with the engineers and so on will take precedent. So another exciting 60 kilometers of racing there, another fun 15 laps for the EuroNASCAR 2 drivers. Out the car comes Vladimiros Siortsis. He'll get on the roof. Celebrations abound. 2 from 2 in the EuroNASCAR 2 season for Vladimiros Siortsis, and he holds his nation's flag high. The Cypriot driver, I'm sure, will have some supporters at home watching, and some supporters with him at the track too, I'm sure. Big congratulations, and oh, I think this party's going to go all night, isn't it? Well, the pit crew have to prepare the car for Patrick Lemery later in EuroNASCAR Pro, but I'm sure that Vladimiros will beat them to the bar. Delightful stuff from the Academy Motorsport team. Lots of delight there. I'm sure that Andre will get back into that scrum eventually for an interview, but yeah, there you go. He's going to do it now. He's given us the big thumbs up. We'll hand over to Andre Viegold then as he continues to watch the scenes here in the paddock in Victory Lane. Vladimiros Siortsis, take a bow.
Another win for you here in EuroNASCAR. Yeah, I am here to win, of course. Big thanks to the team, for everyone who gave all his best. Our aim was this, we achieved it, and we keep going to Brands Hatch and until the end of the season.
With 2 wins already on your tally, we have to talk about the championship. Is that the focus?
Yeah, sure. As we know, the stability is the most important, but at the same time, like last year, the best is to have stability and to win. So I am here to do it this year.
Any plans for celebrations after your 2 first wins in EuroNASCAR?
Yeah, I mean, well done to him. I am really impressed. He's a rookie, yeah? So, wow. I think he will be more fast and more fast. It will be an amazing season until the end.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Great to hear from Vladimiros then. He will be over the moon with his results there, and so he should be. A commanding start to the EuroNASCAR 2 season for Vladimiros Siortsis. The party's already ongoing down in Victory Lane, as you could hear. And Andre still in the midst of the party. Let's hear from Alberto Nasca.
Alberto, you led laps in an official NASCAR race. How does that feel?
Good. I felt good because I finally found myself comfortable doing what I like, which is leading. But he was faster and more experienced than me, so I tried to defend myself. He was good to study me. I saw that for a few laps he studied and he tried to learn where was the right spot to pass. Then I defended myself in turn 2. I went a bit wide and he was able to cross the line. And then he was very good in blocking me, even either the outside and the inside, and I didn't know where to go, and I lost it. Then he had more traction than me and a more stable car, so I need to study where to work, where either on the setup or on the drive, because at the end of the race I was drifting and he was flying.
But you will for sure build on that promising pace you had here at the season opener in Valencia.
Yeah. The nice thing is that I have only to improve because it's my first race. I think it's his 3rd season, so I even did way too much than what I could do. So even more than I could. So the good news is that this is not the best track for our setup. In the other tracks we are more competitive. So. Okay, it's okay.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Much awesome stuff from Alberto Nasca. An attempted kiss there from, I assume, his partner there. Had to jump for it, but Great to see that NASCAR is happy with his results. A bit self-critical, a bit analytical, but that's what makes good drivers. They're never happy with their performance. They always want to get better, and it's good to see that instinct in Alberto NASCAR. I'm sure NASCAR will be approaching Brands Hatch with lots of energy and lots of research put in. The Brands Hatch Indy circuit, one of the more challenging circuits really anywhere, and when you've got 30 EuroNASCARs going wheel to wheel on a circuit that I think is just over 2 kilometers. I know it's mile length, but I think it's just over 2 kilometers. That should be quite the compelling challenge when we go to Brands Hatch with EuroNASCAR 2. Of course, we do have EuroNASCAR Pro still to come here today, so never fear, there is more EuroNASCAR action on the way here today. And there you see the helmet of NASCAR. In fact, no, that's the helmet of Siortsis left behind on the roof there. And Vladdy will be very, very happy with his performance today. We'll see how Patrick Lemery does in EuroNASCAR Pro later. Lemery was actually the fastest driver in qualifying in EuroNASCAR Pro in this very same car, but his lap time got disallowed because of track limits, we believe. And there are the gathered masses. Some excited fans here for the podiums in EuroNASCAR. We will soon see the drivers up on the podium, I'm sure. And there you go, ever diligent with the interviews. Andre has some more insight.
You better go take it. Always they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. Quiet, yeah, we were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
It sounds like the podiums are about to be... Yeah, there you go. 4 podiums confirmed by the local announcer. We are about to see the first of the podiums, the overall podium, onto the stand. And sure enough, there's Martin Dubek. Another good, positive race for him in EuroNASCAR 2. He'll be focusing towards EuroNASCAR Pro, which is his next race in only a couple of hours' time. Alberto Nasca takes the second spot. A delighted Vladimiros Siortsis taking the top step.
El director del circuito era entrega del trofeo Alberto Nasca como segundo clasificado. Y finalmente el director del circuito Gonzalo Gover entregará el trofeo al vencedor, el chipriota Vladimiros Giorgi.
And there you go, delight for Vladimiros. We will now hear the national anthem of Cyprus.
Ese himno en honor de Vladimiros Giorgis, vencedor.
Awesome, you can see how much it means to Vladimiros, can't you? And these drivers don't have any engagement, or at least Alberto and Vladimiros don't, so I'm sure they'll get busy with the champagne. And there you go, the celebrations from the pit crew and the champagne. Oh, they're still fighting the bottles. Go on, Vladimiros, you can get it. Yes, there you go. And he goes straight for, well, just straight for the air, actually. Martin Dubek standing well away. I think he knows he's got to use that race suit again for EuroNASCAR Pro in a bit. There you go, the jubilant Vladimiros Siortsis. I don't think he can quite believe the success he's having this year. There you go. He'll have the red banner atop his windscreen when we go to Brands Hatch. So the next podium we see up, I reckon, will be the rookie class. No, probably the legends actually up next. Okay, so here we go. Third place driver Miguel Gomez. So Gomez third on the Legends podium. Yevgen Sokolovsky comes up for second. And Melvin de Groot taking the top step in Legends. Great result for Miguel. And he's got the camera out. He's doing some selfies on the podium. There you go. Social media mogul Melvin de Groot. Congratulations to our 3 Legends podium drivers. I think Yevgen will be relieved to still get a good result out of this race after his 5-second penalty. And the car in a slightly better condition than it was after race 1 yesterday. And this is the rookie class order. Dufro, Liam Hazemans second, and Alberto Nasca on the top step of the podium, of course. And there you go, Nasca looking happy with that. These really are the benchmarks he has to set himself here, the rookie class drivers, the others who are new to the category. However, you can tell that he's firmly focused on the overall championship, and, well, with 2 second-place results here at Valencia, why shouldn't he be? A wise man to focus on the task at hand, and for him, the task at hand could be the championship. Let's see how he performs at Brands Hatch next month. That's going to be critical for him. A wildly different circuit as well, isn't it? Valencia, by and large, is quite flat. Brands Hatch is comparatively a roller coaster, especially at Paddock Hill Bend and the run towards Druids. And then the Lady Trophy class. It'll be Ariana Casoli starting the proceedings, coming onto the podium third. Second place for Alina Leubnerger. Here she comes. So quite a lot of fanfare. There you go. I'll let the local announcer do that because he's better at it than me. Luli Del Castello on the top step. Congratulations to her on a fabulous result. Moved up the order nicely, was involved in battles as we saw with the likes of Christian Maltrek. And she was the first of our female racers home. Congratulations to Luli. Biggest congratulations of all, of course, go to Vladimiros Siotzis, our race winner here today in EuroNASCAR 2. Won't be long before we're back with EuroNASCAR and the EuroNASCAR Pro class with their second race. We'll see the schedule on the screen in just a moment, although here is the updated calendar, of course. We'll take a quick look at that as well. June 11th and 12th is our next outing for EuroNASCAR 2 at Brands Hatch. But here is the important information for your viewing here today. 1:05 UK time, 14:05 Central European, 8:05 EDT for the second race of EuroNASCAR Pro. So 2:05 local time, Central European summertime for EuroNASCAR Pro. Their second outing. I recommend you join us for that one. It was a fraught 18 laps that we had yesterday, plenty of action. I'm expecting more of the same here today when EuroNASCAR Pro comes out for their second round of 2022. So the festivities continue on in the paddock, but for now, as we show you the rest of the schedule, look at some of the circuits we're going to be going to between now and the final weekend of October. It's a wonderful calendar. We'll see you for EuroNASCAR Pro later on this afternoon, and if we don't see you then, I hope we see you for Brands Hatch. That's going to be a spectacular weekend of racing. But join us for the EuroNASCAR Pro at 14:05 Central European summertime. It's going to be a cracker.